So skinny fat, something that I think a lot of people struggle with and something that I get asked often. So I thought I'd do a video on this. So how do we define skinny fat? So what we tend to see when people are skinny fat is that they're thin, but they don't really have any definition, and they tend to, I mean, they might look like really small in clothes, but they think that they don't look that small without clothes. And what this tends to be sort of characterized as is little muscle, so like small amounts of muscle mass, but still a higher body fat percentage. So what we tend to see in most people is they may have like thin arms, thin legs, but they still might have like a bit of a belly. And what this tends to be, again, like I said, is it tends to be they don't really have lots of muscle mass, but they still have a kind of higher body fat percentage. And I mean, this isn't exclusively, but I do find that you tend to see it a lot more in women, particularly women who don't really do any kind of resistance training. So those type of people who maybe just go to the gym and go on the cardio machines, and they don't really, and they steer clear of kind of like any weights or any machines, and tend to just like resistance machines, I mean by that, and they tend to do just kind of cardio based exercises. So as I've mentioned, we know what it is, right? I've just characterized it. We have less muscle mass, but we still have a higher percentage of body fat. So as you can imagine, how do we get around this, and how do we, I don't want to fix it, but how do we get out of this body type? We need to flip that on its head, right? So we need to get more muscle mass, but also reduce body fat. Now I will say, because again, I have said that it's probably more common in women, but that doesn't mean that it's not common in men. But the reason I'd say it's more common in women is because there are still a lot of people who have this sort of perception of resistance training and weights, that, and in particular in women, and that tends to make them steer clear of them. And that perception tends to be that if they do weights, they will look like a man. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. You won't look like a man. It's physiologically impossible, okay? I mean, unless you're putting something into your body that you probably shouldn't, you're not going to look like a man, okay? You just don't have that ability to build muscle like a man does. And, you know, women do have testosterone levels, but significantly less than what men do. And they just don't have the capacity to build muscle like men do. Again, unless you're putting something else into your body. But let's assume that you're not. You just won't look like a man, okay? It's physiologically impossible for you to do so. What will happen when you lift weights as a female is, well, I mean, let's start with the health benefits for a start. There are thousands, okay? You'll get stronger, helps with sort of bone mineral density, also like glucose control. So it helps you to become like more insulin sensitive. So, I mean, and I could talk about that for ages and the health benefits for ages, but let's talk about the aesthetic benefits, because I'm sure that's probably why people are watching this video. So from that perspective, doing weights will pretty much just make you look awesome. Okay, like, I mean, let's be honest, whilst we love the health benefits of exercise, we also want to look good naked, right? And that is what weights do. Like, you know, when you see sort of those, and I'm going to talk about people in general, but, you know, but let's talk about women as well, that, you know, they're just toned and everyone's like, oh, I really want to look like that woman who's, you know, she's curvy and she's toned. Well, those words are associated with muscle mass, okay? That is what those curves and that toned look is. It's muscle. And that's what you'll get by doing resistance training and doing weights. You'll just look freaking awesome, okay? And like I say, you won't build muscle like a man. You'll just get that toned, curvy look, because that's what muscle mass is. That's what that look is. It's muscle mass. So if we build that muscle mass, you get that toned look, you get those curves. And that is why resistance training is so awesome from an aesthetic standpoint. And so that's one half of it, right? We need to build more muscle. And the other half is we need to lose body fat because we still have a higher percentage of body fat. So that's why we don't have that tone look. You know, we have that muscle underneath, for example, that we're building, but we can't see it because there's a layer of fat on top. So how do we lose body fat? Calorie deficit. We know this, right? Hopefully, if you don't, you do now. We need to burn more calories than we eat, okay? Which comes mainly through diet. Exercise will help to an extent, but it's mainly through diet. Just from the fact that it's much easier to eat 500 calories less than it is to burn 500 calories through exercise. Always will be. So we just need to focus on managing our calorie intake. And that can be done in numerous ways. You can calorie count, you can do portion control guides, you can do particular diet plans, things like low carb. You can do a particular system like Weight Watchers, Slimming World. Really doesn't matter. They all work, and they all work in the same way. They just help you to eat less. They just do it in different ways. So pick the one that best works for you and track your results. And people will tend to say, I have done other videos on this as well where I go into more depth. I just don't want to do too much in this one. But essentially what we need to do for this skinny fat solution is to build muscle and lose body fat. And people will say, well, what do I do first? You know, do I lose weight first, lose fat first, and then try and build muscle? And the truth of the matter is you can do both, and you can do it at the same time. And unless you are a sort of seasoned resistance training veteran, which I'm going to assume you're not if you're watching this video, you can lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Usually based on two things. So you need to get two things right in order to do so. You need to do adequate resistance training, which is obviously what we'll be doing anyway, right? Because we want to build that muscle to get those curves. Or that tone look, if you're a bloke, for example. And we need to eat adequate protein. So basically eating adequate protein kind of just spares muscle mass as we diet. And it also helps us to build more muscle, okay? So a range of what we tend to see in the research is sort of so for every pound that you weigh, 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound that you weigh. Okay, I'm not going to do the math off the top of my head because that's hard, but let's say you weigh 150 pounds, that's up to 150 grams of protein a day. If you work in kilograms, it's 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of your body weight, okay? So if we do those things, if we get adequate resistance training and we get adequate amounts of protein, we can lose fat and build muscle at the same time. So 2 birds with 1 stone, right? And that's about it really, guys. So yeah, skinny fat tends to be a lack of muscle mass alongside a higher body fat percentage. So in order to sort of get around that and get out of that body type and that body shape, we need to do the opposite. So we need to build more muscle, we need to lose body fat, because then again, we will drop the body fat, we'll build the muscle that gets those curves, that tone look, and hopefully we'll no longer be skinny fat, right? So there's your video for today. Hopefully you got some value from that. As always, if you have any questions, don't feel shy in sending me a message. Send me an email to NathanBancroftNutrition@gmail.com. Drop a comment under the video. If you need any more clarification, I'm always happy to help. If you got value from this, please do like the video. Please drop a comment saying, maybe that you learned something, or maybe there's something that you're going to try now. It's always nice to hear people are finding them helpful, so please do that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. There should be an option for you to do so in the top corner of the video, just so you get an alert when new videos come out, because there's going to be lots more free tips coming on a regular basis, so don't miss out on those. Thank you very much, as always, for tuning in, guys, and I shall see you on the next video. Thank you.